well, this is a huge week for Canadian sports. You got yourself defending your title, you got the Raptors in the NBA Finals. Have you been following along with the Raptors? Do you feel any extra pressure to kind of make this a great week for your home country?
Not really. I was actually just talking with Danny. I haven't even been watching. I've seen, obviously, like everyone talking about it on social media, so wish them the best of luck.
Yeah, you've been to some Raptors games. You infamously went to that one with Conor McGregor a few years ago, right?
I don't know if I went with Connor. I
you did
with one.
When you guys were doing the World Tour.
Okay, was it? I don't know if he was there though.
Okay.
But I remember I was with one. It was a promotional thing. So yeah, it was cool. Basketball was one of the coolest live sporting events I've actually been to. I'd definitely go again.
Awesome. Well, hopefully, maybe there's a championship parade. We can get you there with your belt and everything. It'd be a good time.
Never know.
Okay, perfect. Well, this is a quick turnaround for you, Rory. Obviously, the talk of your statements after the last fight, well documented and everything. Just, what's this camp been like after you got past kind of that post-fight media flurry and just were able to focus on yourself and kind of close yourself in?
Yeah, really, the beginning was just getting my injuries squared away, taking some time to rest, and my headspace, just getting everything in line, clearing everything up, and then it was just putting in the work. And being in good shape for a fight, taking a break, and then training hard again, I feel in great shape. So I really feel like I'll be able to put on a great performance.
Yeah, what ultimately factored into your decision to do this fight? I know Faraz said pretty much immediately afterward, like he, if it was his call, he would encourage you to do it. I'm sure it wasn't 100% his call, it was yours as well, and maybe some other people. But what were the determining factors?
Well, I personally, I wouldn't have minded if the fight, was like later on, maybe in July or something.
Sure.
Just because at the time, my elbow and my cut and things, thinking in my head, will I be able to train properly for this, or am I going to be sitting on my butt and have to fight, with no sparring and no hard training? So that was making me think it should have been maybe fought a little later, because I didn't know how my injuries were going to heal in time, but they did heal fast, thank God, and I was able to train hard. But they basically were like, you got to fight or you're not in the tournament. So I wasn't really willing to do that. So
would you have had to give up your belt?
Yeah, I think I would have got the boot. So gonna go in there and show that when they put pressure on me, I will I'll come back harder and show that I'm a champion.
Yeah, you're the only guy I can remember, basically in MMA history, to have 2 consecutive fights where your next fight was lined up afterwards. It happened after the Mousasi fight, it happened after the last one. It seemed like going into the Mousasi fight, you kind of liked it. You're like, I like knowing what's next, all that stuff. But now, maybe now it's like I could have wished for a little more time.
I don't even know what's after this one too, because I know you're funny now. Yeah, so it's cool. I mean, it's nice, I guess, to have a bit of a guide, so to speak, where it's like normally you're just waiting around till you get the next name.
Yeah, and it saves people like myself asking you every interview what's next.
Yes, right. So we know.
Perfect. Do you know if there's any timeline for that final, when they want it or anything like that, or is it all going to be dependent? Are you going to be like, hey, give me a bit of time after this one?
Well, I need time.
Yeah.
I'm having a son in the beginning of August, so me and my wife want to have some time for that to, just reorganize this new addition to our family. So we'll need some time with that, and then once we get our ground, we'll be able to train for a fight. So maybe the end of the year-ish, maybe, I don't know, somewhere like that.
Yeah, that'd be a well-deserved break for sure. And just with this fight with Neiman, I mean, you are used to fighting, very recognizable names, veterans, people who've been around. This guy has not been around all that long, even though he's 7-0 in Bellator. What do you just make of him as an opponent? What's kind of your scouting report on him at this point?
Oh, he's very good. He's fighting for the world title, so I can't overlook him because he's only got 9 fights. Because I was once that guy too, where I was on my way up, and maybe those veterans who are used to fighting other veterans thinking I'm just gonna squash this young guy, but I don't look at it that way. I'm fighting for the world title, and I plan on putting my A game in there no matter who I'm up against. So.
Yeah, and you mentioned, earlier in your career, obviously, that just instantly makes me think back to the fight with Carlos Condit, and like you were obviously doing super well, you're on a roll there, but the veteran maybe has some tactics, some things that he's able to utilize. Is there a point in this fight or things you can do in this fight to maybe show him this is a different level? Everyone talks about there's levels to the sport.
Absolutely. I mean, when you have experience, it's key. That was one thing I was missing when I first got into the high level of UFC competition. But now that I have it, it's one of my strengths now that I could use against maybe someone like Neiman who doesn't have that yet.
And you've obviously fought some really good grapplers, Damian Maia, John Fitch in your last fight, and you've survived dangerous positions on the ground with them. But obviously Neiman comes from the Gracie background. Is it more important than maybe in those fights to avoid those situations in terms of not even getting them in them period as opposed to fighting your way out of them?
I'll definitely be fighting similar. I don't want to get the fight to a place where his strengths could take advantage. So I'm always going to be trying to implement my game and shut down all his attacks, to try to work towards his game plan. So I feel like I have the skills to do that too, and the experience and the IQ to be able to coordinate the fight and manage the fight.
And you win this tournament, there's, on top of having the belt, another tournament belt that you get, there's that $1 million prize. You mentioned having another child in August. How much does that do for you and potentially changing your life?
Yeah, it's a huge deal for us. I mean, this is my career, this is how I support my family, and this is how we make our money. So what a blessing it would be. God willing, I'm praying for that to all go through.